The third of 53rd Summer Camp was held from July 31st to August 3rd at GNM Retreat Center and Gimshin Retreat Center, respectively, for 3 nights and 4 days. Saints who gathered from all over the country were able to share rich words and exchange with each other, starting with the early morning sermon, afternoon grouping, and gospel class for new attendees. In the evening, true stories, choirs, and other special performances prepared by the congregation decorated the service. At GNM Retreat Center, Pastor Ok Park, and at Gimshin Retreat Center, Pastor Yongguk Park of American New York Good News Church delivered the sermon as main speakers. In particular, Pastor Ok Park spoke on the first evening about a patient who had been sick for 38 years. He preached that anything is possible in our lives when we rely on Jesus. The 4th summer camp will be held next week from August 7th to 10th. The 2024 IYF World Camp concluded its 7-night and 8-day schedule with the closing ceremony held at Jamsil Indoor Gymnasium in Seoul on evening of 28. The closing ceremony, which was held from p.m. under title of World Cultural Performance and Grotch's concert with Seoul citizens, started with a World Cultural Performance, followed by a closing speech by IYF Chairman Park Moon-taek, and a welcome speech by Lee Jong-bai, spokesperson for Seoul Metropolitan City Council. There were also congratulatory remarks from Jamaican Minister of State for Political Affairs and Lesotho National Assembly Speaker. The Grotch's choir and foreign artists presented a beautiful classical stage with added visual beauty to citizens of Seoul. Pastor Ok Park, founder of IYF, yelled with a powerful voice the words of Hebrews 10:10 that all people have been made perfect and righteous by precious blood of Jesus, and the audience also joined in his yelling. Participants from 65 countries around the world who were connected to each other through the World Camp signed a contract for next year's World Camp and said goodbye with regret.
See you next year!
The 2020 For Business Leaders Forum, attended by ministers from around the world, was held at Gyeongmungo Hall of K Hotel in Yeonjadong, Seoul on 27th. This event was prepared to bring Christian entrepreneurs and foreign ministers who run businesses with faith to share the mindset that leads to success, and to further open the way for product and technology introduction and overseas export. Prior to event, CLF President Pastor Park Yongguk prayed, and there were congratulatory remarks from Yoonpi and Damini, senior political figures in the King's office, who visited Korea as special envoys of the King of Eswatini. Lee Chien-gun, chairman of Showworlds, which leads the domestic functional shoe market, and Hwang Hyo-jang, director of Hourglass Oriental Medicine Clinic in West Africa, introduced the business and spoke honestly about the word and promise of God, leading the business. Pastor Ok Park spoke about the biblical mindset that leads to business success and the forgiveness of sins achieved by Jesus. They look forward to future activities of Business Forum that will open new business opportunities based on the same belief. The 2024 World Culture Breach Festival was held at Jamsil Indoor Stadium on July 28. The parade team marched and performed in hanbok and traditional costumes, and booths were set up to introduce the cultures of 7 countries. The youth group of Seongbuk, Dondaemun, Seoul and Donsol Church and about 150 volunteers prepared for the event. In particular, the volunteers received prior training and heard the gospel with Good News Corp Overseas Volunteer Experience Group. Volunteers said that it was fun and meaningful to meet and communicate with many people through this work, and they became interested in Good News Corporation's overseas volunteer work and would like to attend again next time. Liberian Minister of Defense Geraldine Jan George, who visited Korea to attend the 2024 IF World Camp, visited Hwasun County office on 29th. The Liberian Minister of National Defense, who met with Hwasun County Governor Koo Bok-ju and military chairman Oh Hyang-yeol, promised mutual exchanges for Liberian youth. After the dinner, she visited a local farm with Hwasun County Councilman Kang Jae-hong, who were introduced to cultivation techniques, and had a meaningful time touring tourist attractions such as Hwasun and Red Cliff. Hwasun County Governor Koo Bok-ju promised to provide scholarships to Hwasun area college students for overseas volunteer work. Good News Dechen Church held a Midsummer Nights concert with the Boryong Mud Festival, a Ukraine-sponsored project, at the Mud Festival held at Dechen Beach on 30th. Ukrainian dance team Muria Vito Classic lead event singer Kim Hyun-ho performed for about 2 hours, and about 150 citizens watched. Citizens were very moved by the story of the dance team Muria and showed great interest by taking pictures with Ukrainian students and giving them donations. A performance official announced the conclusion of a successful performance, saying the Mud Festival has requested a main stage performance at next year's festival.